Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, August 16th, 2016, and I hope everybody's having a great day. As you know, I didn't put up any devotionals yesterday. I put up that notice to all the pre-trib, all those that believe in the pre-trib, and that was an amazing strategy by Satan to knock me off my balance beam. And he did a good job of shaking my tree. Can't touch the roots, but he did a good job of shaking my tree. And yesterday, after I posted that video, the Lord was speaking to me the whole entire day, up until just 10 minutes ago. And the Lord was trying to reassure me about the rapture of the church. Even though inside of me I know and believe that in the pre-tribulation rapture, what Satan did to me with those, throwing that bomb at the end of 2 videos that I watched, was caught me off my guard because I didn't expect it. That's how I knew that he made me select these particular videos to watch, because he's after me. But God reeled me back in to stabilize me, and I'm just going to go over yesterday the sequence of events that happened to me, because you can't make this stuff up. Okay. After I posted that video, I needed to get out. My head was all screwed up. I have been crying on and off intermittently, feeling depressed and down. So before I leave my house, I stop at my desk, and I just went through a couple of pieces of mail, and my landline rings. Now, nobody calls me on my landline except solicitations, and I never answer them. I just let it go to voicemail. And so I'm sitting there, and the phone rings, and I look at the caller ID, and it says PNC Bank. Now, I don't have any accounts in PNC Bank, and normally I wouldn't pick that call up. But something in me told me to pick up that call. So I picked up the call, and the woman said, "Is Diane there?" And I says, "No, you have the wrong number." And then she says, "Is this the Living Word?" And I says, "No." She says, "Okay, I'm sorry." Immediately I knew it was the Lord, because another word for the Bible, the Holy Bible, is the Living Word. So I says, "Okay, Lord, you want me to look up Diane?" So I look up the word Diane in the Hebrew Strong's, and Diane and Diana are the same. So he leads me to in the Bible about the false goddess Diana, and he showed me a statue of this false god, and she has rows and rows of breasts, with the nipples on them. And this was at the beginning, partly of the beginning of the mother and child worship. And I read all about it. And I says, okay, I understand what the Virgin Mary means. I know that the Catholic Church puts her before you. I know that they pray to her instead of you. I know all of that. I couldn't figure out why he sent me this false goddess Diana with all the breasts. The only thing I could think of is that all those breasts represent the many millions and millions of people that are sucking on this falsehood. Oh yeah, and it just happened to be Ascension Day for the Blessed Mother yesterday, okay? Which they give her credit for her ascension. And it was God that she, in the Bible, there's really no evidence of how she died. So the Catholics have given her the credit for her ascension. And like Christ, when he ascended from his own power up to the Father. And they kind of give that power to Mary, but Mary didn't have that power to ascend on her own. She would have had to been taken up. Her spirit would have had to been pulled up from the Father. So I get the impulse. I said, you know what? I have to clear my head. I need to take a ride. So I decided to go to this big store that it's a food market. And I've been there hundreds of times in my life. I could go there with my eyes closed. It's about 20 miles away, maybe, something like that, from where I live. So I get in my car and I start driving. And I take the exit. And then I realize it's the wrong exit. And instead of... I get a thought from myself, my thought, to turn my phone, go into my navigator resource in my phone and ask it, how to get to this place, because I wound up in an area I didn't even know where I was. I'm not familiar with that inner city of that particular exit that I took. And I thought of it, but yet I didn't do it. And I just kept driving. It was like my car was just going where it wanted to go. And I knew that that was the Lord taking me somewhere. Because last month, when I got off the highway, I never get off the highway in traffic and going to South Jersey. And I got off the highway and I was looking for another way, and he sent me the back roads. And he took me to a sheep farm. It was just me and him. And he knew I would like that because he knows I love animals. And, and actually this sheep farm had sheep and goats. So it was a biblical message there too. And so I says, I don't know where the Father's taking me. I said, but this was kind of like a very seedy inner city location. I mean, it was like if you were going into I don't know, like an area where there's a lot of crime and a lot of stores, like an avenue, but it's on the lower end, and it just looks scary, like you should lock your doors. That's what it looked like. So I'm going, and I wind up at a T, and right in front of me is St. Joseph's Hospital. So I says, okay, Lord, You brought up Mary, and now you're bringing up her husband, Joseph. So I make a left, and I'm traveling, and I'm traveling, and I'm traveling, and then all of a sudden I'm saying, wow, this looks familiar. Like I've been here before. And I'm going and I'm going, and I finally recognize this building in front of me. And it's a Catholic church that has a humongous pantry, and they take donations. And every year I go through my closet and I get everything that I analyze everything, and I make big bags that I don't wear or use anymore. Shoes, whatever, and pocketbooks, whatever I have that I'm not going to use anymore, and I donate it to this particular Catholic charity. And so I pull over to look at this building to try to figure out why the Lord brought me here. And the radio starts playing the song, "I Heard You're Getting Married." But it's the worst that could happen for me. Now, I'm a child of God, so who is going to be who is the worst that could happen? It would be the worst that could happen for Satan, because the Lord took the bride, right? I heard you're getting married. So I'm sitting there now, and I'm looking at this building and listening to I Heard You're Getting Married. And I see the address on the building. So the Lord tells me to look up the address. So I look up the address in the Strong's Concordance, the Hebrew. And lo and behold, the address, the meaning of the address means husband. Now, you can't get, I can't make this stuff up. Okay? And, so I says, okay, Lord, you're telling me, that I'm getting married, and you're my husband. And at the time, I was confused when he was putting all this in my lap, and what threw me off was the Blessed Mother thing, because of the day of Ascension is when she rose. I couldn't figure it all out. I didn't know whether he was trying to tell me that today is the day that they're celebrating Mary, or he's trying to reassure me that he's going to come for me in the rapture. Because, and this is Satan trying to give me confusion in my head. The Lord here is going out of his way. I mean, he followed me the whole day. The songs, and there were more songs on the radio that spoke to me, that I knew was coming from him, those lyrics, and it was all telling me about the intimacy between him and I, and the rapture and the marriage. And so I come home and finish out my day. And this morning when I woke up, I was still confused about the message. So I went for my coffee. Now, usually when I wake up, no matter how I feel, I put a big smile on my face. And I look up at the sky and the sun, and I give my father a big smile, and I say, "Good morning, Pop." And didn't do that today because I was still cut off emotionally. And on my way back from my coffee, there's a special spot that I pull over, and a lot of times I look up at the sky and I pray in my prayer language to him. And I didn't do that, and I just came home. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to do a devotional today either, because I still felt, after all that the Holy Spirit did to reassure me, I was still stuck in this quagmire, whatever you want to call it, this enigma of confusion in my head. And I says, well, just let me sit at the computer and light, the incense and open up a prayer book, and maybe I'll reconnect. So I open up my computer. I light my incense. No, I didn't even light the incense yet. I just opened up my computer, and I have my prayer altar right next to me here with all my prayers on it. And above me, is a chandelier. So when I sit down here, I usually there's 6 light bulbs. No, 5. 5 in the chandelier. And I usually, just touch and unscrew the bulb very lightly. They're loose. And so I don't have so much light coming down on me when I video. So my finger just touches like lightly the bulb, and it burst and exploded all over my altar, all over my computer. I actually, I sucked in my breath, I didn't expect that. And immediately I knew. Now, you'd think that was Satan, but no, that was the Lord, because last November, the Lord spoke to me, and he gave me a word, filament. And I did a video on this word, filament. I studied it for a week, and I came up with 4 meanings for the word filament. And part of the meaning in this video where I spoke about the rapture. And I'm going to link that video in the description box so that you can see how the Lord is reassuring me about the rapture. Because in this video, I mention part of the meaning of the word filament, and the Lord and the Holy Spirit guiding me to do the research on this word was a prophetic message about what's going to take place, and probably very soon. So I'm going to put that link. Please watch it. He gave me this prophetic word in November of 2015. And by him breaking that light bulb over my altar, that was him making another attempt to say, Judy, duh. I'm dense sometimes, He talks to me, and a lot of times it takes me a long time to understand, what he's trying to tell me. But this was very, very profound. And I just want to let you know what's been going on. It's been an extremely spiritual 24 hours for me. So I went to look for the sweep pan, to get all the pieces of glass and the filament off the altar and the table, and I couldn't find my sweep pan. It wasn't in the place that it usually is. So I got a paper towel, and I gathered all the little pieces of glass and the broken filament and everything all in one place, and I'm saying, how am I going to scoop this up now? So I go there's papers on my table right behind my laptop where I record my videos and say my prayers. So I pull out a piece of paper, and I fold it. It's this piece of paper actually, and so I get my paper towel and I scoop. I use this as a shovel, okay, to get everything together and get it off the table. And at the end, I look at the piece of paper, and out of all the papers that I have here, the one that I pulled out to sweep up the filament and the broken glass from the light bulb is the lyrics to People Get Ready. Okay? And that's about the rapture. So you see, friends? I can't make this stuff up. All I can say is I'm honored that the Lord speaks to me like this. And if those people that I listen to, BP and Paul, Pastor Paul, if they knew the Father the way I know the Father, they would believe in the pre-tribulation rapture. They would have a personal relationship with the Lord, and He would speak to them. He would be guiding them. He would make Himself known to them. He would reveal this to them. And the fact that this is not revealed to certain people is very telling to what their position is with the Father. And do they really know the Father? Can they hear the still small voice of the Lord? Does the Lord break the veil to reach them and correct them? I'll let you answer that.